Hello and welcome to the West Asia Post. I am Ghadi Francis, bringing you stories that are shaping the most volatile region in the world. In Yemen, the Houthis are mobilizing for a potential war. Fighters ready, tribes armed, and a warning to Israel: strike and pay a heavy price. In Iraq, the country is moving from bullets to ballots. This as Iran tries to keep its grip, and Washington warns the Iraqis: don't enter Syria, don't enter Israel. And in Lebanon, a new round of Israeli strikes on southern Lebanon, and things are escalating more and more. This time it's not only Hezbollah involved, it's also the Lebanese army. All this is lined up, but first, let's take a look at the headlines. Palestine. In Gaza, desperation still defines the status quo under the ruins and rubble as people are scrambling to find basic needs, as basic as food and shelter. In the West Bank, new reports suggest that Israel struck over 2,000 times in the past month alone. We tell you more.
4 weeks into the ceasefire and Gaza is still starving. Humanitarian agencies say far too little aid is reaching the Strip, even as winter closes in and tents, homes and hope wear thin. The truce was meant to open the floodgates, but instead a trickle. This as the death toll in Gaza surpasses 200 since the ceasefire came into effect. The World Food Programme says only half the needed food is entering Gaza, and Palestinian agencies claim overall aid is barely a third of what was promised. Israel insists it's meeting its obligations under the deal and allowing the passage of trucks inside Gaza, and blames Hamas for looting supplies.
We are living in a very difficult economic situation. Life is difficult for us because we own nothing and we don't have anything to buy food with. There is no work. Without the soup kitchens here, we couldn't have eaten.
But the UN disputes that, saying looting has dropped dramatically since the truce began. Yet on the ground, hunger and misery endure. Tents are falling apart. People are burning waste to cook. Children remain malnourished as aid workers call it a race against time.
We need to get to the 1.6 million people with full rations. We need full access. We need everything to be moving fast. We are in a race against time. The winter months are coming. People are still suffering from hunger, and the needs are overwhelming.
and the majority of families still survive on daily rations. No meat, no vegetables, just cereals and pulses. The winter could turn this into a deadly crisis.
We have no life here. We've lost all hope. We return to a pile of rubble. We have no water. We have no food. We came back to rubble. We hoped our house would still be there, but there's no suitable place for us to live.
In the occupied West Bank, another front of Israeli violence is raging. The Palestinian Authority says Israeli forces and settlers carried out 2,350 attacks last month alone, calling it an ongoing cycle of terror. Ramallah, Nablus, Hebron all hit hard. Settlers uprooting and poisoning over 1,000 olive trees, a symbol of Palestinian heritage and survival. The Commission says it's all part of a state-sponsored strategy to expand settlements and displace Palestinians. Israel's far-right government continues to push massive new settlement plans, with nearly 2,000 new housing units up for approval this week and over 28,000 advanced since the start of the year. The United States says it opposes annexation, Vice President J.D. Vance calling Israel's expansion a stupid political stunt. But beyond the words, there is no action, no consequence, just the ongoing drumbeat of displacement and destruction. From the worn-out tents of Khan Yunis to the uprooted olive groves of Hebron, the war may have paused, but for Palestinians, the suffering has not.
Israel have breached the ceasefire deal, striking Lebanon time and again. And the claim is Hezbollah is rebuilding its weapons. But this time it's different. The Lebanese army is involved and the Lebanese presidency as well. Hezbollah issued a statement saying there will be no negotiations with Israel, not direct, not indirect. And in the same day, Israel raided across southern Lebanon multiple times. We bring you the story.
A new front is heating up in West Asia. Israel is targeting its old foe once again. Israeli fighter jets are roaring into the skies. IDF has launched a fierce attack on Lebanon. This is the deadliest escalation in weeks, which is testing the year-old ceasefire. At least one person was killed and 9 others wounded in the attacks in southern Lebanon. Israel claims it is targeting Hezbollah military sites. The armed group fired back, condemning the strikes as a flagrant violation and warning of retaliation if they continue. The truce, once touted as a regional stabilizer, now teeters with Israel launching near-daily strikes and Hezbollah refusing to disarm under fire as Israel continues to routinely attack Lebanese territory. Lebanese President Joseph Aoun said, "What Israel committed today in southern Lebanon constitutes a full-fledged crime under international humanitarian law, which criminalizes the targeting, terrorizing, and forced displacement of civilians." The United Nations peacekeeping force in Lebanon, known as UNIFIL, condemned the Israeli attacks, saying that IDF's strikes threaten civilians. On Sunday, Israel issued a sharp warning to Beirut, saying Hezbollah is playing with fire and the president of Lebanon is dragging his feet. Tel Aviv vowed that Israel would continue and deepen enforcement in the north, insisting that Hezbollah's weapons must be dismantled and its forces removed from southern Lebanon. The remarks follow a series of strikes and intelligence operations that signal a more aggressive doctrine by the Israeli Defense Forces. On Monday, the IDF confirmed it had killed 2 Hezbollah commanders in southern Lebanon, including Mohammed Ali Hadid, a senior member of the elite Radwan force. Another Hezbollah operative was struck as Israel claims he was collecting intelligence on Israeli positions. A day later, another strike followed. The IDF said its aircraft targeted the Radwan force again, this time in the town of Kfar Riemann, killing 4 members of the unit, including its logistics chief. The Israeli military claims these operatives were involved in attempts to restore terror infrastructure in the south. But Lebanon is pushing back. The foreign minister, Youssef Raghi, has urged the international community and Germany in particular to press Israel to stop its strikes. Raghi insists only a diplomatic solution, not a military one, can ensure stability in the region. Lebanon's President Joseph Aoun has also ordered his army to confront any Israeli incursions, even as he tries to keep a fragile domestic balance. But on the ground, that resolution is clearly fractured. According to Israel's media reports, Hezbollah is rebuilding its arsenal with Iranian help, re-establishing supply routes through Syria and Iraq. Under the terms of the U.S.-brokered truce signed last November, Lebanon agreed that only state security forces could bear arms. But almost a year on, that promise is teetering.
Iran. The Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei issued a red line that took West Asia by storm. He addressed Donald Trump, vowing that Tehran will not cooperate unless US dumps Israel. Now this as Khamenei is vowing to revamp and boost Iran's nuclear capacity as the US and Russia are flaunting their nuclear weapons, raising the stakes globally. Listen in.
Iran's Supreme Leader delivered a challenge to Trump, declaring, "Stop interfering in West Asian affairs or face consequences Tehran is prepared to deliver." The message wasn't buried in diplomatic language. It was a public dare aimed straight at Washington. Choose between your West Asian ambitions and your alliance with Israel. You cannot have both.
US cooperation with Iran has no meaning and is unacceptable. Yes, if they, the US, were to completely abandon their support for the Zionist regime, withdraw their military bases from here, and refrain from interfering in the region, then it would be possible to examine the issue. But that is not for now, nor for the near future.
Not directly responding to the Supreme Leader's dare, Trump says he is open to a dialogue with Tehran.
And frankly, Iran has been asking if the sanctions could be lifted. Iran has got very heavy U.S. sanctions, and it makes it really hard for them to do what they'd like to be able to do. And I'm open to hearing that, and we'll see what happens, but I would be open to it.
Now, Khamenei's former advisor, Mohammad Javad Larijani, says his country is capable of building a nuclear bomb in under 2 weeks, but it chooses not to do so. This comes as IAEA is pushing Iran to improve nuclear cooperation. The timing detonates across global power dynamics. Trump has ordered American nuclear weapon tests. Putin announced Russian nuclear preparations. Now Khamenei adds Iran's nuclear vow to a world suddenly bristling with atomic saber-rattling. 3 major powers signaling nuclear readiness within weeks of each other isn't coincidence, it's coordinated brinksmanship on a scale that makes the Cold War look restrained. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Few months after Israel air raided Yemen, killing the Prime Minister and the command team, Yemenis are regrouping and preparing for a potential war. Tribes are being armed, fighters are getting ready, and the Houthi Yemeni Ansarullah have issued a warning to Israel. They're saying, you strike and you will pay a heavy price. The next report brings you details.
In the mountains of northern Yemen, the Houthi movement is mobilizing. Its leaders are calling on tribal allies to prepare for what they call an imminent Israeli strike. The announcement came a day after Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu described the group as a threat that must be neutralized. Following the Houthi announcement, hundreds of armed tribesmen poured into the Arhab district north of Sana'a. Brandishing rifles, firing into the air, and chanting slogans against Israel. Similar shows of force erupted across other Houthi-controlled provinces. The tension follows Israel's August airstrikes that targeted Houthi sites in Sana'a and Hodeidah. Several people were killed in the strikes, including top ministers and the group's military chief of staff. In the aftermath, Houthi leaders restricted officials' public appearances and accused the United Nations of collusion. And now that accusation has turned into action. The acting foreign minister of the Houthi government has confirmed that 43 local UN staff will stand trial, accused of helping Israel target Houthi leaders. The UN has flatly rejected the claims, calling them baseless and politically motivated. The defendants, all Yemeni nationals, could face death penalty.
The security agencies recently arrested cells directly involved in targeting the government. At the forefront was the Prime Minister, who was martyred along with his fellow martyrs. Investigations were conducted, the matter was verified, and there is evidence.
The United Nations says at least 59 staff remain detained in Yemen, some held incommunicado since the August strikes. In Muscat, the UN Special Envoy to Yemen met Houthi and Iranian officials this week, urging the release of aid workers and the resumption of peace talks. But on the ground, war preparations are escalating. Since the Gaza war broke out in 2023, the Houthis have launched over 100 missile and drones towards Israel. Israel has retaliated at least 19 times, striking targets nearly 1,800 kilometers away. And now, with both sides trading warnings, Yemen risks being pulled deeper into the regional firestorm. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
A deal that could rewrite the military balance of West Asia. We are talking about the Saudi request. Donald Trump's administration is studying this request. The Saudis requested to buy 48 F-35 jets, the world's most powerful war plane. Now there's a hurdle in the White House and there's a lot of talking about this. We tell you more.
A high-stakes deal is taking shape in Washington, and it could put Saudi Arabia in the elite club of F-35 operators. The The Trump administration is considering a Saudi request to purchase as many as 48 F-35 fighter jets, a deal worth tens of billions of dollars. Reports say the talks are advancing inside the Pentagon, with the case now at the secretary level, just weeks before Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman's visit to Washington. If approved, this would mark a major shift in US policy, potentially redefining the military balance in West Asia and challenging America's long-standing commitment to Israel's qualitative military edge. For decades, that policy ensured Israel got the most advanced US weapons, while its Arab neighbors received less sophisticated versions. The F-35, built by Lockheed Martin, is a stealth, fifth-generation fighter designed to evade enemy radar and strike with precision. Israel has operated the jet for almost 10 years and remains the only country in the region to possess it. But Saudi Arabia, Washington's biggest defense customer, has been pushing for years to add it to its arsenal. The kingdom already flies F-15s, Eurofighter Typhoons, and Tornadoes. But the F-35 would give Riyadh a game-changing edge, particularly against regional rival Iran. Reports say the Pentagon has been working quietly on the proposal for months. The sale still needs multiple sign-offs from the cabinet, from President Trump himself, and eventually from Congress. But congressional approval is far from guaranteed. Many on Capitol Hill are reluctant to deepen military ties with the Crown Prince's government. The potential F-35 sale also ties into a broader strategic push. Under the Trump administration, arms deals have become central to US-Saudi relations. Just this May, the White House announced a $142 billion defense package with Saudi, calling it the largest cooperation agreement in American history. And for Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the timing couldn't be more significant. The kingdom's vision, 2030 agenda, is driving massive modernization, economically, socially, and militarily. Riyadh has been seeking to diversify its defense partnerships, even as it remains rooted in its decades-long security relationship with Washington. The Biden administration once floated a similar F-35 offer, tied to a deal for Saudi normalization with Israel. That effort stalled. But now, under Trump, the door seems wide open again.
Iraq. It is shifting from bullets to ballots, but it seems like the old war never ended. It just changed its form. In Iraq now, there is two powers. Iran is trying to hold its grip, and Washington is warning the Iraqis to stay out of Israel and Syria. We tell you more.
Remember Dick Cheney, the architect of the Iraq invasion, who died earlier this week, the one who promised freedom, democracy, and a new order. 2 decades later, the Iraq he left behind is a different kind of war zone, not of bombs and occupation, but of ballots and backroom deals. On November 11th, Iraq holds a parliamentary election that could reshape more than just its own politics. The polls could decide whether Iran can still hold its ground or watch its regional empire crumble piece by piece. For years, Tehran's influence in Iraq ran deep through Shiite parties, powerful militias, and money that flowed straight from the IRGC's coffers. But since the US killed Qasem Soleimani in 2020, that grip has weakened. Iran's proxies are splintering, rivals are running against each other, and the unity that once defined Tehran's control is now fractured. In a desperate attempt to restore order, Tehran sent Soleimani's successor, Esmail Khamenei, to Baghdad last month. But whether his talks mended the cracks or exposed just how deep they run remains unclear. And all this comes as Iran faces setbacks elsewhere. Syria, its allies are weakened. In Lebanon, Hezbollah, hit hard and hemmed in struggles to project power. And in Gaza, Hamas, once a cornerstone of Iran's regional network, is in ruins. Analysts say, if Iran-backed candidates lose in Iraq, it won't just be a political defeat, it'll be a symbol of declining power. And the Trump administration is watching closely. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth warned that the US will strike back at any Iraqi militias that move to support Iranian operations against Israel or in Syria. That's the tightrope Iraq now walks between a wounded Iran that needs it and a wary America that won't hesitate to hit back. The stakes are enormous, because if Iran can't hold Iraq, its last reliable anchor in the region, it risks losing the very core of its strategic depth. But if it clings on, it could still reinvent its influence in a new, messier West Asia.
That's all we have for you on this episode of the West Asia Post. I will see you next week with a brand new lineup, always bringing you the most recent updates, news, and ground reports from the world's most volatile region. I'm your host, Radi Francis, signing off from Lebanon. For more global news, keep on watching WION World is One.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
As big Hollywood films fail to draw viewers to cinema halls, take a look at the box office report card of the recent months.
Message from Morgan. He's cuter than I expected.
Know why viewers are returning to the first season of Nobody Wants This.
Hi, this is Ayushmann Khurrana.
And meet Indian actor Ayushmann Khurrana. All this and much more with me, Diksha Bisla, on WION at these times.
Winter has arrived under the northern lights. An EV and a radar are